Well, hey you! Welcome back. My name's Jack, the snacky snack that smiles Becky back. And today, we're looking up stories on the internet. Now remember, if you do like today's content, make sure you like and subscribe, support the channel, be a lovely person, and I will love your face. This story, am I the a-hole for refusing to buy my fiancé an engagement ring? This is going to sound weird, but stick with me please. My fiancé and I got engaged. When I proposed, I hadn't bought the ring yet because I wanted to pick one out with her. So last night we were discussing everything, basic stuff. She informed me that she wanted to keep her last name. That really bothers me. I told her so, but she insisted. But I can't control her, etc. But then she started to ask about when we're going to get the ring and etc. I thought about it and then told her, I actually don't think we should use an engagement ring because that's a sexist tradition too. I said if she wanted to, she could just go out and get herself something, but that I didn't care. This upset her for whatever reason, and we fought about it and are still mad at each other. She and my sister think I'm being petty, but I don't. Am I the a-hole? Edit. People think I'm being petty and that engagement rings aren't actually sexist. Please read this. And it is a link to an opinion article about engagement rings, a sexist and outdated tradition. Taking that opinion however you want. Personally, I think just like any other parts of culture, we've adapted and changed them to a more modern society standard, but sure. Do you really feel like it's a sexist tradition, or did you refuse the ring because you're upset she doesn't want to change her name? This is the important question. If you were refusing to buy the ring to spite her, you are petty. If you genuinely believe the tradition is sexist, it's not petty. But based on the fact that you planned on buying her one, I'm going to say you were just being petty because her not changing her last name upsets you. You're the a-hole for holding the ring over her head and being petty. You stated first that you didn't initially buy a ring because you wanted her to be a part of the process and to pick it out. Yet after she says she doesn't want to change her last name, you change your mind and now don't want a ring at all? That's petty, and it seems like you did it to belittle her choice to keep her maiden name. Yatta, changing your name is a hassle, and many women have degrees and established careers and don't want to deal with changing at all. You are being petty and had said you were getting a ring. If that is such a huge deal to you, rethink the entire relationship. You may not be compatible. After all these comments, he made a very self-reflective update. Edit. I shouldn't have posted this. No one is taking my feelings that engagement rings are sexist into account. Yeah, buddy. You double down. You're definitely not in the wrong. I'm definitely going to be on the Yatta side of things here myself. But do you think they have a good standing point with the idea that engagement rings are sexist and that we shouldn't be aspiring to get those kind of things? Personally, I think the ridiculously inflated costs of engagement rings and wedding rings in general is enough to make me want to despise getting them. If your partner needs you to spend 10 grand on them to be in a relationship with you, then they're not worth being in a relationship with. They clearly want to get married to your wealth, not to you. But hey, if you think otherwise on any of those points, let me know. This story by Conch Mum. Am I the a-hole for wanting to take visitation away from my ex? I posted in legal advice and was surprised about the response I got. Not the actual advice, but the "it's none of your business" sentiment, so I'm curious if I am the a-hole. My 11-year-old daughter came to me this morning and told me she didn't want to spend the weekends with her dad anymore. I was confused, because they generally have a good relationship. She started crying and said she found out that her dad's girlfriend is actually married and has children. I knew he had been seeing someone recently, but hadn't asked any questions because it's really none of my business. I am remarried, if that matters. My daughter says that she is left with the woman's husband and her other children while her dad and his girlfriend go out for dates. She also says she feels uncomfortable around the husband, but hasn't been able to explain why. I'm hoping it's only because she finds the whole situation, unconventional. Her dad also explicitly told her not to tell me, or he would be upset with her. Legally, I'm not sure if I would be able to do much, as I already have primary physical custody, but do share legal custody. X isn't a terrible dad, but definitely doesn't do any of the heavy lifting when it comes to parenting. He's more like the cool, fun uncle that picks her up every other weekend. So, would I be the a-hole for suing for full legal custody and limiting overnights, assuming that's even a thing I can pursue? If another adult man is creeping out your kid, trust your kid. Talk with your attorney early next week to get custody changes. Again, trust your kid in this. Plus, he's a stranger to you and your child. He shouldn't be taking care of your child. Certainly not without your knowledge. Her dad isn't actually spending time with her on his visits, and she is unhappy. You're not the a-hole here, OP. Listen to your child. You should sue for an injunction against your child being left alone with someone other than your ex. But no need to change custody. Ex shouldn't have told her to keep it to herself. Your question, however, is whether you should change custody. I will say no a-holes here. You'll be wasting your money trying to change custody, but you would more likely get a ruling that she can't be left with a third party, and you get first refusal if he wants to go out without the child. What is the point of him having your kid over every second weekend if he isn't even there to spend time with her? Since he has his kids over so seldom, he should be specifically planning his date nights for when your daughter isn't there. It's not fair that she should have to be watched by a stranger so your ex can go out. Not sure that's the best first step. I would talk to the ex first, calmly. Be understanding and non-accusatory. Figure out what is going on and if your daughter is at risk. Talk to your daughter some more about this guy she's being left with. Does he know where his wife is while he's babysitting? Has he done anything that sets off red flags? So long as your daughter is not in harm's way, you should try to work things out first before taking this to the courts. Sounds like she's uncomfortable either with the open relationship or the idea of change. New step relatives can be hard to adjust to. Also, she could be missing Dad. If he only gets her 4 nights a month, maybe she's feeling rejected. Try requesting he save date night out for when he doesn't have a visit. He should plan things his daughter can participate in when it's his weekend with her. I think that last comment's a good overall justification as to what she should do next. While I do agree to trust the child, I think we should be trusting that she feels uncomfortable, not that this man is a very creepy and dangerous person. It is mentioned that the child is about 11 to 12 years old, so if there was anything really dangerous going on, the child will be well aware of it socially. For now, I'd have to say no a-holes here, with the dad being a slight yatar. He's definitely ignorant in his priorities, but I also think what the child is upset about is more so the lack of attention and care she feels from her father, rather than the actions he's taken in regards to leaving her with someone creepy. What's that, Mr. Teapot? That I realized I shouldn't have bought as a green one because it doesn't work with the green screen well at all? They should like and subscribe? I think that's a very good idea, Mr. Teapot. Otherwise, he'll hurt me. Please like and subscribe. This story by Fu What You Talk About. Am I the a-hole for telling my girlfriend of 2 years I'd rather adopt than to get her pregnant? I'm going to keep this short and simple. I, 27 male, have been dating my girlfriend, 24 female, for 2 years. She suffers from chronic depression. She moved in with me when the pandemic started because she lost her job. She lays in bed all day, doing nothing. No cooking, no cleaning. I can deal with this, but for some reason she keeps bringing up the idea of getting pregnant. Now, while I would love to have some biological children, I would never think of getting her pregnant. Because I don't want her to have prenatal depression. So I told her this, and she called me ableist. Had to look this up. So now I feel a little bad, but I stand with what I said. So am I the a-hole? Everyone sucks here. Her depression renders her unable to function in basic ways. Parenting should be out of the question right now. But I wouldn't even consider adoption with her at this point in time. Children who have been through foster care have already been through the ringer. They don't need a new mom who can't take care of them. Everyone sucks here because that's not really how it works. If she's depressed, she should neither be getting pregnant or adopting right now. She should be getting help, and you really shouldn't be entertaining this conversation. Besides, if you truly don't want to have children with someone with depression, adopting isn't a magic bullet. How do you know the kid's bio parents didn't have depression either? This is a much bigger conversation than that, which shouldn't even happen right now considering her fragile state. Well, even if she gets her depression under control, I'm still going for the adoption route. Why? Because you don't want to have kids with someone with depression? Like I said, there's a huge flaw in your logic considering that when you adopt, the information on your child's background will be incredibly scarce and there will be a chance they have a family history of depression too. And if you never intend to have biological kids with this woman, I hope you made that abundantly clear to her so she can decide if she wants to stay with you. No a-holes here. I don't see anyone being an a-hole, per se. What I do see, just based on this bit of text, and I'm open to being wrong, is someone who is depressed and is looking for a way out of depression in some absolute way. I'll have a baby. And it's like, oh my gosh, you're just going to be so much worse if that happened. Fix yourself first. A baby is not the fix. Very light yata. Of course, you should tell her that you don't want to have a baby. She's really not healthy. But adding that you would adopt is hurtful. It reads that she's not good enough to have a baby with, and you'd rather be matched with someone you don't even know. If you're not thinking about having kids anytime soon, maybe leave the part about adopting out, and just say no. Not the a-hole. In her current state, she's extra sensitive to anything that might be perceived as criticism. Is she accepting treatment, meds, and therapy? If not, it should be issue number 1 in your household. She may be irrationally believing a baby would make her happy. In her current state, it's likely to make her worse. But an adoptive child could be equally a burden, and she probably feels criticized by saying you wouldn't want her to go through a pregnancy. If she's in therapy, it would be beneficial for you to attend a couple sessions as a family member to know how you can best support her mental health, because it is easy to do the wrong thing out of simple ignorance. This is not family therapy or couples counseling, it is still individual therapy with family support added. Being immobilized, essentially bedridden, for this length of time is very serious stuff. She needs professional help. Definitely sounds like a typical case of ignorant partner not realizing how to better convey where they're coming from. Personally, I think it's much smarter to be adopting than to be having a child, at least in the greater scheme of things. Personally, I find it ironic that people go on about needing to adopt pets instead of getting them born and bred, but want to have their own children and not adopt kids in the same fashion? Don't get me wrong, if you want to have kids of your own, you go right ahead. But how is it different to those people who selfishly get their dog bred instead of adopting the ones in need to be adopted and cared for at those animal shelters? I mean, am I missing a major difference between orphaned children and orphaned pets, aside from the fact that pets get, well, euthanized after some time? If anyone can clarify me on that, you're welcome to. Please do. But anyway, no a-holes here. I think the guy just needs to learn to better convey what he's trying to say. Oh, you're still here. Oh, hi. What? Okay, well, look, if you're here, you might as well have made sure you liked the video and subscribed. You have some weird thing going on between us here if you haven't already. Come on, stop being such a tease. Make it Facebook official. In this case, YouTube official. I love doing the content, and I'd love to hear your opinions. Again, always leave your stuff down below. I do try to read them. I don't always get notified of the comments, so I may miss a few, and I apologize in advance. To those who have already subscribed to me, thank you so much. It honestly means the world. Well, that's the end. Be sure to check out some more stories on the channel while you're here. And I guess until then, I'll see you for the next one. Bye-bye.